All right, on this episode of Restoring Christine, we get a twofer. We're going to replace the rear quarter panel and the rocker panel on the passenger side of our 56 Bel Air. If you're interested in seeing how this gets done, stay tuned. All right, once again, welcome to Restoring Christine. We're restoring a 1956 Chevy Bel Air in my home garage, a do-it-yourself project by me. My name is Bill. Her name's Christine. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, just trying to get her done. So let's see what we're going to get into today. So a quick little recap as to where we are on the project. I'm still in the metal phase, still repairing a lot of corrosion, a lot of rusty parts, swapping things out, changing things. So a few weeks back, we put in the floor pan, brand new from the toe board all the way back to the trunk, and then where the trunk picks up, we put in a new trunk pan. We also, last week, we put in the rocker panel on the driver's side. So where I'm left at now with the metal work is to try to get, the only two things I have left really that are major are this quarter panel and this rocker panel on the passenger side. So this quarter panel, you can see it's pretty bad. It's got some bad patchwork from way back when, not my work. Don't know what that was, but it allowed the car to survive. Can't complain too much about that, but it's got some side swipe scrapes in here. It's got some holes that developed after they must have patched this, and then the rocker panel's got holes in here, and you can see the corrosion goes all the way up to the lower level of the stainless. There's a stainless line on this Bel Air model that comes all the way back to the rear bumper. Then there's an upper dog leg here that comes in. So the corrosion comes all the way up to this spot. So I'm going to end up cutting out this quarter panel similarly to the way that I did the driver's side, and I'm going to cut back here probably an angle up and over, and I'm going to splice it along the door here. And then, unlike the driver's side, when I did the driver's side, let's go look at that real quick. So when I did the driver's side, I did the quarter panel repair before I did the rocker panel. And those two projects were quite a ways apart on the calendar. But now what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to do those two in unison. So hopefully I can get, I can do that work and avoid this problematic area I had where these two were splicing and they weren't aligning. The quarter panel as I come in. One of the things that you may remember if you've watched some of my videos, you've seen, or you've watched the floor pan video, when the floor pan came in, the floor pan ended up with a bit of a gap. And it was like that on both sides, and I couldn't figure out why. These rocker panels lined up on the outside, and when I was trying to get that rocker panel in, I really had to twist it and clamp it with 6-inch clamps and try to get it. It took a lot of persuasion to get it in place. Well, just now, on a hunch, I took my tape measure and I measured the width of this rocker panel, and I measured the width of the rocker panel that I'm replacing it with, and there's a 1/4 inch difference. So that's good news, because this floor pan is basically a 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch recessed inside of where this existing rocker panel is. So when I put this new rocker panel on, hopefully what that means is this outside line will stay true, and the inside line I'll be able to weld it up against the floor. So hopefully that'll all work out. But it looks like so far measurements aren't lying. They're telling you what we need to know. So let's keep going. All right, we got the front out. So now this, on the driver's side, when I did this, I drilled out spot welds here, but this is all in much worse shape. The sheet metal that was from the rocker panel underneath here looks like this. I mean, it just paper thin and it just came out. So I was able to just get underneath here with the grinder and clean that up. I've got a Sharpie mark right here at the forward edge of the exposed part of the rocker panel, the face that you see. So that's where that's going to go. Just like on the driver's side, whatever it was that the fender bolted to fell off. This is that. It literally wasn't attached to anything. I think this is original to the original build. You'll notice Christine was originally Sherwood green in 1956, and then somebody along her lifetime painted her red. But this fell off, junk. So now I've got a starting point to start working my rocker panel back to here. Now I'm going to clean this up a little bit, enough to be able to get the entire rocker panel back to clear this quarter panel. So let's get that cut out. Well, surprisingly, this side is going together a heck of a lot quicker than the driver's side did. I don't know. It could have everything to do with the fact that I've done that side, so I kind of know what to expect, and I'm not having to think as much. But so far, it's almost popping into position, just as it is, which is what I expected the driver's side to do, but it didn't. So now I need to bring my jack over here and jack this, because this has to twist. The inner rocker panel's on a slope. This has to kind of dive underneath over here, so it took a little bit of persuasion to get it in, but I've got it front and back aligned like I like, and it's getting pretty close at the back. So it's about 3/8 of an inch, maybe more than that, maybe about half inch low here, maybe about 1/4 to 3/8 low back there. But it's gonna fit. It's gonna fit. So let me get the jack, get that in place, and see. And there's a test fit. I still haven't punched any of my holes in it to get ready to weld it. So let me do that. There it went. Woohoo! All right, that's a start. That's a start. Something's holding it down in there on the front. On the inside, it's kind of like twisted that way. We'll get it. Oh yeah, it's all popping in place now. I took the rocker panel to my bench, and I've got a puncher from Harbor Freight that punches 3/16 or so holes, and I was able to punch all this back flange, but the upper flange, you can't get the tool around it, so I had to end up drilling those by hand. So I drilled those with a bit. Holes about every 2.5, 3 inches or so. I didn't measure it, I just eyeballed it. And then I also sprayed some undercoating on the inside of this one. I'm gonna go ahead and fit this in and start tack welding it in place, and then we'll continue on. Okay, things are going well, so I'm not complaining, but I'm just amazed at how differently this passenger side is going together than the driver's side. The driver's side took me like several hours longer than this to get to this point. I mean, I'm barely into this, and I've already got the rocker panel in place, so it's looking really good. Let me show you. Got it flush and aligned on the top, flushed and aligned on the bottom. It's right at my mark, for that was the forward point of my rocker panel before. This is tucked underneath the cowl, whatever you want to call this little dog leg here. It's tucked over here at the door jamb dog leg. It's fitting pretty well. It's riding pretty level, the top and the bottom. It's a little bit of adjustment in the middle maybe. And then this is going to come together with the quarter panel, but so far it's looking really good. So all I need to do now is, if you watched when I did the driver's side, one of the things that I apologize for is I'm so skittish of corrosion. I leave the coating. So there's a coating in place. I have a weld-through primer on this rocker panel, but the floor pan is EDP. So it's got, it's baked on primer on it, electrodeposited. So I think it's like a powder coating. So I've got to take my drill and clean out those little holes so that when I hit it with my wire, that it doesn't arc on just the rocker panel to the side. It actually arcs on the back on the floor pan, and that way I can get penetration. Otherwise, I'm just welding up these holes and it's not gonna attach. So I'm gonna get my welding machine set up and we're gonna get this thing popped into place. So we're cruising. Let's go. That's more or less it. That's done. It's tight. Looks really good. It's got good alignment. It's welded nicely. I'm pleased with it. Man, when I had that other rocker panel, I showed you before when I started the video, I had a 1/4 inch gap and now it's touching. But not only is it touching, but check the alignment on the outside. You know, boom, right down where it's supposed to be. So there was something about that other rocker panel that was not an original rocker panel. Somebody replaced it, and if you saw the flanges, I don't know where it went, it's underneath the car, but if you saw the flanges, whoever put it in before didn't have enough inner rocker panel to weld to, and they just barely tacked it in about 4 places. It really was just there, almost like it was a trim piece. It was horrible. So the next thing we move on to now is going to be fitting in that 1/4 panel. That's the next step. Woo-hoo. Coming along. So let's quickly go over something. There's the passenger side rocker panel the way I ordered it, and I did a review. I think it was video number 6. It was very early on in my channel. I did a video review of the 1/4 panel, and people have been asking me. It's like, hey, you know, where'd you get that from? What was the parts number? So on and so forth. Well, here's the bill that was on, or the packing slip, and this was shipped from Cars Inc. in Michigan. But you know where I bought it from? Check it out. Real Deal Steel. And there's the part numbers. That's everything I ordered. And it's not the price. I mean, it's just the shipping ticket. But, I ordered it from Real Deal Steel. And again, I've said Real Deal Steel. You think you can get the whole body from them, and you can. But they're brokering parts that are being shipped from other parts of the country. The floor pan came from Real Deal Steel. However, it was shipped from Golden Star Auto Parts out of Texas. The rocker panels also came from Gold Star or Golden Star out of Texas. Same thing. Now this came from Cars Inc. even though I ordered it from Real Deal Steel. I don't know. I guess it's a whole lot of intermingling of the businesses, but we're going to get this one fitted up, cut out, roughed in, and that's the next step. Okay, I did a quick little off-camera work. I cut the lower part of the 1/4 panel off of Christine, and then I cut this flange off of the door side of the new 1/4 panel, because those lines are nowhere close to what the body lines are in the car. I don't know how anybody could ever make that work, but it's not even near where it needs to be. It's in the wrong zip code. So now that I've got this cut, I've got the car cut, I'm going to go ahead and slide this up in place, clamp it in place, and start fitting it. As I'm starting to fit it, I just put a couple of tack welds, 1, 2, 3 up here at the top. And this is longer than what I'm going to keep. I'm going to cut this somewhere down here. But I'm looking at it already, and it's already hanging oddly. It's got a big gap over here that when it touches, I push it. If I push it here to touch here, I can feel it start to, watch what it does. See how it kicks this out? It kicks this out when you push this in. So I'm going to have to break these tacks free, cut this piece a little bit more, and then cut more of my 1/4 panel out of the way. I'll probably cut most of the 1/4 panel out. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done. I'm telling you, when I cut this piece, when I cut it here, the tension in this curve, suddenly this became like a W. It went this way, this one went that way. So, you know, when we weld these things up, this popped too, this did the same thing on the other side. There's tension in this curved panel, there's residual stress in them, and it's going to fight every bit of flat welding we try to do. So it's just going to be the pain of having to do it. Let's see if that's any better. Well, right off the bat, still looks like it's puckered right here. Still looks like it. It's the same thing on the other side. So I'm going to have to take it with this and see where we're at. Now that I've cut everything away from the back and I'm fitting this panel on the surface, it's not as bad as it was starting to seem. I know what's going to happen here. You can see how this is riding already. Look, I haven't even started welding it, and it's off, and it touches, and it's off. Issue on the bottom, I can't tell. I think I'm pretty decent on the alignment, but you can see the gap that I've got to close here. This surface has to be here. It's got to move up a good inch. So I might try to move my floor jack in place, clamp this a little bit more, move my floor jack in place, and see if I can't get it to shove. Okay, so now I'm getting it test fit in place. I have two clamps holding it down. I had to pinch it down so it lines up at the bottom of the floor pan. I have the jack shoving it up so it lines up at the bottom of the floor pan. It's close. So when I showed you last time, it had about an inch gap back here. So what this is doing, this lower flange of this quarter panel is not bent square enough. So it's bent. It's bent like it's going this way, and it needs to come up a little bit more. So I'm having to shove it up, but as I'm shoving it up, what it's doing is it's putting more of a curve in the panel. And now what it's doing is it's starting to really show its, show itself over here. Quickly, I'm going to show you what's going on. I can't get this to ride up high enough because that slope is too steep. It needs to be a stronger crease here. So I hadn't been able to get it with my floor jack, just jacking the whole panel up. So now what I'm doing is I've got a little small bottle jack, and I'm putting concentrated loads, and I'm starting right here where I've got it lined up. So I'm going to have to just walk this bottle jack and my spot welds all the way down until I get this bottom end. And then once I get that bottom end, then I'll be able to come in and cut in the top. It's fully fit in place now. It's tack welded all around the top, both top edges, the side edge at the door, and then underneath it's permanently welded to the floor pan. And I'm telling you what, the alignment is really good. It looks really nice. Very pleased with it. So now what we're gonna do, is we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna weld this thing in place permanently at the top edge and the side edge. And I'm gonna use Fitzy's cut and butt method to do that. Fitzy's Fabrications, awesome channel. I'm sure everybody that's watching my channel has already seen his, but if not, go check it out. And also a little bit of a shout out to Carl Fisher with Jap Hands Customs. You know, what I picked up from watching those two guys and then making my own goof ups is that you've got to get this next gap really tight. It's got to be close, because the further apart it is, the wider that gap between the two butt edges of the sheet metal, the more heat it's going to take to lay down a bead. And what does heat do? Warps. So I'm going to take my time with it. It's going to be tricky, but I'm going to hopefully get it done right. So here we go. All right, that's the piece that was here. And that's how his method works. You cut this out. Actually, it was like this, I think, yeah. Like that. You cut this out from behind the piece, and you just make sure that these two pieces are flush. I'm seeing it start to try to do a little waviness in here, and it's because this car was dented before. So now I've got to do the same thing for this piece that's over here. I got to get that out, and then I can go ahead and just continue with these little spot welds like that, little tacks, and that'll make that entire line. That's it. It's flushed up all the way. It's pretty good. A little bit high here, but it's pretty flat most of the way. And I'm already feeling it's like there's a little bit of a dip right here. But I know when I cut this already, you know, it wasn't a flat panel. And like I said, this is not going to be metal finish, so I still need to push this in and then get that tacked. But then now I need to do is walk a bead all the way along here, just like spots and passes. Every few inches, come back. Every few inches, come back. Every few inches, come back. And then eventually it'll be a continuous weld. Do the same thing here. First pass on the top weld. It's got a few pinholes in here I'm going to end up having to work with. It's hard to see. I mean, it's hard for me to physically see through the shield. I left this one here because it's like it's out of alignment a little bit, and I think what I want to do is I'm going to get this together, and then I'll grind that back out, probably those welds, and then just get that alignment tightened up. But I'm going to pull out the grinder, make a first pass on this. I mean, it's not warped. It's not warped any more than what it was when I started. So I'm really pleased with that. I've still got to weld this edge, and I'll do that. I'll grind it, see what more I need to do, realign this, get that in plane, weld that seam, and then I'll be able to, the last little thing is to tie in the corner of the rocker panel, the corner of the quarter panel to the rocker panel, and then it's done, other than drilling holes. But yeah, keep on trucking. Here we go. well, there it is. Done. Just need to do that corner. That's another 10 minutes worth of work, and this thing's done. So let's get that finished and wrap this up. And there it is, done. Man, that one came out really good. I am so pleased with that. Man, that is about as close to metal finish as I've come so far. That really is. I mean, and if you were looking, when I was doing the welds, I was spot welding this, and I had to keep going at a distance, but then this is on an edge, man, and everything that's on an edge, you can like rock and roll, just buzz along. Man, really pleased with it. Very, very, very pleased with it. So that's going to do it. Today was a fun day because everything worked and it came out awesome. I'm so pleased with it. But I'm really happy to have each of you along watching, taking, riding along with me in the garage here, sticking around. So I tell you what, if you're enjoying the videos, please give us a thumbs up. And if you're enjoying the channel, I'd appreciate a subscription. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them. I will respond to all. I'd love to help any one of you that has any questions. You're working on a project similar to this, or you just want to know what it is that we're doing. Hey, ask away. Please stick around for the next one. I'll see you next time. Cheers.